If we talk about the front end trust, if we talk about the front end trust is about clear communication, clear communication. So the users, they need to know exactly what the agent is doing at any given moment to feel psychologically safe, because we know that agentic AI systems, they are autonomous in nature, wherein the system decides what to do. So at least the user should know what exactly the agent is doing at any given moment to make the user psychologically safe. So we call it visible reasoning. So instead of a simple loading spinner, the agentic AI system, the user interface of it, it should show the agent's current stack. Like for example, searching for flights, analyzing the prices, reviewing refund policy. So whatever the agent is doing in the given moment, that should be displayed in the user interface. So we call it the visible reasoning. So with visible reasoning, we can enable clear communication and traceability. Traceability is also very important for clear communication, wherein the user interface should provide clickable links or traces to the original sources the agent used to make a decision, allowing for quick verification without technical overload. So for the front end trust, clear communication is very important, and for clear communication, the user must know what the agent is doing. So visible reasoning, wherein whatever the actions the agent is taking, that should be very much clear. It should be visible in the user interface, and also the traceability, like whatever the sources the large language model used to decide a particular set of actions, those sources, a link should be provided wherein we can visit that source. So that's the traceability. So for front-end trust, visible capabilities is very important. So visible capabilities means users, they often lose trust when an agent feels like it can do anything but fails at a specific task. So visible capabilities means we should emphasize on what that application can do. Like whatever agentic AI application you are making, so the main things which it can accomplish, the main the core capabilities of it, we should highlight it, we should display it. Like in chat gpt also, it has got some visible capabilities. So we should have a defined boundaries, like clearly state the agent's scope, what it can and it cannot do from the first interaction itself. So that is very important. If something is there which agent cannot do, we should clearly communicate it. Tool visibility, we should show the user which tools the agent has access to. That is the tool visibility. Example, email, calendar, database. So the user understand the limits of its agency. Now the next very important key consideration for front end trust, that is honest uncertainty. So pretending to be certain when the system is probabilistic is a primary cause of adoption failure. So the agentic system should be very honest. So confidence indicators here plays a very important role. So we should use human friendly language to express doubt. So instead of 87% confidence, we should use phrases like the answer is likely based on 8 trusted sources. So whenever the agent, the agentic AI system is not very confident about a response, it should clearly indicate that. Like chat gpt also, it says that chat gpt can make mistakes, please cross check. So that is very important. So that is the honest uncertainty. So if the response is not that confident, we should clearly state that. So the answer, for example, this answer is likely based on 8 trusted sources. And visual cues. We should use color coded signals like green for high confidence, orange for medium to alert users when they should provide extra oversight. So this is very important. Next very important key consideration for front end trust, that is predictable behavior. Predictable behavior. So the autonomy should feel like reinforcement and not displacement, because we know that agentic AI systems, they are autonomous. So autonomy should feel like reinforcement, not displacement. What it means is that human control points should be there. So for high stake tasks or for irreversible actions, example, sending an email, making a purchase, because making an purchase is an irreversible action. Sending an email is an irreversible action. So for irreversible actions, for high stake actions, the front end should require a human in the loop approval gate. So that is the human control points. So this is very important. So to establish the front end trust, we should have human in the loop, wherein any irreversible action the agent will be performing, or any high stake action the agent will be performing, first it will be taking the permission from the user. It will be taking the approval from the user. So that will establish the trust. And emergency stops. So the agentic AI system, the user interface of it, it should provide visible, accessible override mechanisms. So users must feel that they can interrupt or stop the agent at any point to maintain a sense of agency. So that is the emergency stops. So emergency stops should be there, wherein the user can just click a button to stop the response. And next very important consideration for the front end trust is the human aligned responses. So the agent's output, it must match the user's intent and values, not just optimize for a technical goal. So intent clarification here is very important. Before even executing, the agent should double check ambiguous request. Like if any ambiguity is there, agent should cross question and get it cleared. And graceful recovery. So agentic AI systems, they should treat failure as a primary state. When an agent fails, the user interface should make it easy to undo, edit, or provide feedback to nudge the agent in the right direction. So see, the idea is that the agentic AI system, it might fail, so it should recover gracefully. And how it can do it is, when the system fails, it should ask for the feedback, or it should give some control to the user, using which the user can align the agent in the right direction so that the agent can recover back. So that is a graceful recovery. So human aligned responses. So we discussed some very important considerations using which we can enable front end trust. So front end, it answers a very important question like, do I trust it to do it? So front end is not about capability, rather it's about the trust. Can I trust the agentic AI system to get the work done? And this trust is very important, because this trust will decide the adoption. No matter how good the backend intelligence is, if the trust is missing, if the user experience is not that good, then the user adoption will fail. User will not adopt it. User will disengage. User will stop using that agentic AI system. So trust is not a model feature. It is a design outcome. So trust is not something which we will get from the model, which we will not. So trust has nothing to do with the capability. See, definitely trust has to do with the capability, because it should behave in the right way. That is very important. But despite it behaving in the right way, the design, the user experience still has a role to play. So the idea is very clear that backend intelligence, we have to sort it. We have to sort the backend intelligence. We have to make the agentic AI system respond correctly. That is very important, and equally important is the front end trust.